So, hi everyone, welcome to the latest podcast. I've got a really special guest with me today. I want to introduce Mr. Brad Sugars, who is all the way from Las Vegas. Say hi, Brad.
G'day, buddy. How you doing? Yeah, I'm in America, but Australian, so I kind of messes with people a little bit.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know Brad is the founder of ActionCOACH, which is the coaching company that I work with, and they're the global #1 in coaching in the world. We're coaching in 74 countries now, Brad, is that right?
76 now, buddy.
Oh,
76. We just opened another country, Laos, actually.
okay, great. The Far East is going crazy, isn't it, over there for us?
It sure is. It doesn't matter where business owners are in the world, they struggle with the same reality checks of every other business owner in the world. So it's a lot of fun coaching everywhere.
Yeah, great. So for those that, again, don't know what Brad does outside of ActionCOACH, you also buy, build and sell businesses. And just tell us how many businesses you're involved with at the moment other than ActionCOACH, Brad.
Now, I just bought a veterinary business 2 days ago, so that makes it 16 at the moment that I'm building. Everything from property management, commercial cleaning to, as I just mentioned, veterinary, vehicle importing. You name it, pretty much I'm involved in it in some way, shape or form, or we coach it. So, yeah, as you said, most of my life is about buying companies, building them and then selling them. So.
Great. So, and not just the 16 you've got a history of building businesses and selling them for a little bit more than what you bought them for. Is that right?
That's always the goal, buddy. We've done over 50 companies in our lifetime that we've built and sold. So yeah, again, everything from pizza manufacturing and wholesaling through to magazine publishing, musical productions, motorhomes, building big RVs, recreational vehicles. So yeah, all sorts of things that I've been involved in over the years.
Great. So that was just a bit of background for the audience, people listening in, just so they can see the depth of knowledge and
written a couple of books too. Now we're at 16 books out there in the marketplace. That's the last one, Buying Customers. That's the previous one. Oh, and father, 4 kids, another one due in 66 days. So that'll be number 5. And I think I'm done at that point.
Yeah.
16 businesses, 5 kids. It's kind of a busy life.
And those that you've seen Brad speak publicly will know that he's not shy of promoting his books and his products. And one thing that really struck me, Brad, was a comment he said once, about the pushy salesman that people talk about. And I think you asked the question, what's the matter? Do you not think your product's any good? Why wouldn't you want to have it? And
look, if you're proud of what you sell and you know what you sell adds value to people, of course you're going to sell a lot of it. If you think there's something wrong with it, or you think there's something that that's when people shy away from it. I think learning that sales is professionally helping people to buy, because people do like buying. And if you can professionally help them buy the thing that's right for them, because if you're better than your competitor, you owe it to your customer to have them buy from you rather than your competitor. So, yeah. I've been a salesman all my life, buddy. First I had to sell my parents on giving me ice cream, and now I've got to sell people on. Now I've got to sell my kids on not eating ice cream.
Yeah, good luck with that. So, really, what I wanted to talk to you about today, Brad, is I speak to a lot of business owners where they're at the £1, 2, 3 million pound mark, and they've done a really fantastic job of getting that business from what's potentially a guy I was speaking to just yesterday. Started off in his bedroom, and now he's got this £2 million business. He's doing really well. He's making a couple of quid, and he's doing quite well. But he's kind of hit a ceiling and wants to get to that next level. And what I want to talk to you about first of all is before we start talking about actual strategies, we know that there's a certain thing that happens between our ears that can hold us back in that way. And what sort of mindset changes need to happen for the business owner to get that from that 2-3 million point to maybe 10 or 20 million pounds in their business?
Yeah, look, the thing is, you can get to 1 million, 2 million on hard work on your own back. You can do that. You manage it, you run it. But you're working long hours, you're doing the hard work. The brain power of the business is mostly you. And if you don't show up, things start to fall apart. Now, to get to that next level, you've got to shift your mindset around it being all about you to it being all about the team that you build. You know, how good are your people? How good are the people that do the job of building the business for you? You know, I know the reason, I know my success comes down to I build people. If I build good people, they build a good business. If I build average people, they build an average business. You know, you recruit good, build great, they go and build great for you. But the thing that has to go on in the mindset of a business owner to go from there to the next level is that they literally have to understand how to let go. Any mindset thing, Jeff, where they're thinking stuff like, oh, if you want the job done right, you got to do it yourself, or, you know, I'm the best person at this, no one can do it as good as me. Any of that stuff has to disappear. You have to get to a point of understanding. I think, who was it that said it? Henry Ford said it many years ago. The smartest person in business is the person that hires people smarter than themselves. And ultimately, that ability to let go and allow others to do the task, allow others to run your business, the ability to let go and even go away for a few days is tough. I mean, you know it. When you first start coaching business owners, Jeff, how many of them is it tough to even get them out of their business for a day to go and do some planning work or some learning work? And it's like, dang, that's even hard for them because they just don't want to let go. It's my baby. I've got to take care of it. I've got to do it type thing. And, you know, same's true when your kid grows up and goes off to work or goes off to university and you sit there and go, you know, my kid's leaving. Well, your business has to leave you too. That's where that definition of a business that we teach of a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without me is a vital thing. And if people don't understand that, it's very hard for them to really realize that, hey, business can run without me. I don't actually have to be here all the time.
I wonder as well, is there something around, you know, someone who's built a business up from virtually nothing to a couple of million quid, when they started the business, they probably thought that was maybe the end goal. And they thought, wow, this is brilliant. And now they're making a couple of $100,000 a year and they're doing really well. But now they've got this new paradigm of 20 million quid where they might think, I'm not a 20 million pound business kind of person. What would you say to that person that's thinking it's just outside of their paradigm?
Yeah, look, I remember when I first hit 1 million and then I thought, oh, gee, what if I can do 1 million in you know, a shorter time frame? What if I could do? And then I remember the first day I did 1 million in a day in business. And, you know, you start thinking about all of the possibilities of what you can do. Look, it's hard to see going to 20 million until you get to 2 million. It's hard to, because, you know what work it took. But it's even scarier, Jeff. I chatted with actually a business owner the other day, and he's doing about 3 million now. And I said, well, what do we got to do to get you 100 million? He said, there's no way I can do 100 million. I'm already working 80 hours a week as it is, you know. And so to him, it wasn't just out of his paradigm. It was like, hang on, if I'm working 80 hours a week to get 3 million, imagine what I've got to do to get to 100. That would be crazy. But he didn't really start to think about the building the business that works without him. So it's not him doing all of the work. But and then I was talking to another business owner, and she was struggling with the fact that, as you just put it, she created her goal. Her goal was to have $1 million a year business. She's based here in the States in Atlanta. And her goal was to create $1 million. And as soon as she started to get to that $1 million, then her biggest challenge was she hadn't set new goals. And as we know, a business is either growing or it's dying. You know, if it's not growing, it's going to go backwards. Your competitors are going to start to beat you. You know, the word disruption or innovation is all around us with other businesses. So we got to keep growing, and that doesn't mean you have to keep working, but it means you have to keep learning.
I find as well, people behave as a business owner more like a sergeant major than a general. So they're kind of, they're like, I'm coming over, I'm with you chaps, you know, we're doing this together, and they're just looking in the close environment, rather than, because they feel guilty that they're not working with the chaps, where the general could be there with, he's got all his displays and he's sipping his tea, but moving people around like pawns. I think that's the next stage of that development, isn't it?
Yeah, look, they always say the best general creates the best captains, and the same is true for business. The best business owner creates the best CEOs. See, all of my companies have great CEOs, and majority of them, it takes me 1 hour a month to run. Some of them, it takes me 2 hours a month to run them. But that's basically my involvement. And it's kind of like, if you look at that chart behind you on the wall there, Jeff, they've got to make a shift strategically as well as mentally. See, to get to the 2 million, usually you climb those first 4 rungs of the ladder where you've got an operation that works. And your goal has been 30% growth. And I always flip it and say, well, what is it going to take to do times growth? How many offices do we have to open? See, if you switch your thinking from, I need to hire 1 more employee to I need to open 1 new office, or if instead of opening another shop, your thinking is I need to open in another country. What's the best example? Have you seen the movie The Founder with Ray Kroc recently? It's about Ray Kroc with McDonald's, and he didn't build the first few million. What he did is found a business that had a great system and then went and opened it in 1 million locations type thing. And that's really the strategic shift that has to happen along with that mental shift.
Mm. So it's about leveraging out the impact of the owner so that he can have impact over so many more things and make probably bigger and bolder decisions.
Yeah, look, I think that as a business owner, you have to realize that if everything revolves around you, the business can only get to so far. As you build a better team, as you build high quality management, it's even, I was with a gentleman the other day and he's doing about 38 million in his business, but it's still, everything runs through him. And he's sitting there saying to me, Brad, I want to sell my business. And I said, well, you can't sell it. He said, what do you mean I can't sell it? I said, well, your business is not a saleable item. Your business is you. And the only person that could buy your business is someone who understands what you do to a high level and can run the business. Until you build it that it works without you, it's not a saleable item. And that to him was a major blinding flash of the obvious, because it was like, hang on a sec, I can't actually sell this because no one would want to buy the job that I do.
And that's the thing, building a business that you can sell and building a business that's really easy for you to keep are the kind of the same thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah, look, if you build it that it runs without you, then it's a saleable item, but also you can run it, it works, you can go on vacation, it still works, it's still growing. And, most business owners, the business doesn't, they do. The owner does the work, therefore the business gets the results. Whereas what we teach and the way we build a business, and I think also, Jeff, a lot of people don't really understand that there is a systematic methodology to building businesses. There is a recipe for business growth. And, we at ActionCOACH, we'd coached 13,000 companies before we wrote the manual on it, my book, The Business Coach. And, at that point, we realized that when business people fundamentally shift from being a great hairdresser or a great architect or a great accountant or a great whatever their business is, when they shift from that to being a great business person, then they really start to grow a good business, And business doesn't get easier. You just got to get better at business, I think is probably the simplest way to put that. But when you become a great business person, I was actually, the reason I was buying this veterinary business is, they've finally worked out they're not in the vet game, they're in the business game. And, they employ veterinarians. They just, it's a totally different focus.
So, if we've opened up ourselves to the different strategic thinking and we're moving forwards in that way, and we're thinking 10x rather than 10% and that kind of thing, and we've got a plan, we're moving forwards and we're gaining traction with that, what have we got to look out for along the way? What are the possible pitfalls?
Dang, I mean, there's a lot of pitfalls, and you know, cash flow management, obviously, with speed of growth. The faster you grow, the better your planning needs to be, the better your cash management needs to be. The faster you're growing, obviously, the more important that human resources is, that training is. You know, I find that the job of a great CEO is human resources.
Mm-hmm.
You know, finding the people that can do the work. And you know, it's not about running an ad or calling an agency. It's about, you know, headhunting the best of the best, finding them out there and looking for them. And, you know, I know for one of my companies, I met a guy at a conference and I just sat and went, dang, this is the guy I want running that business. And, you know, I spoke to him later on and I said, if you're ever looking at anything, if you're ever thinking you want a different job, give me a call. Suffice to say, a week later. But now he's running that business and he's trebled the size of the business because he was the right person, you know. I think, and ultimately, you know, if you're going to grow at a rapid rate of knots, it's keeping your own knowledge growing as well.
Yeah.
The business can't outgrow the owner's level of knowledge. The business, I mean, if you put that real bluntly, the business will only ever grow to the owner's level of incompetence. You know, the moment you run out of ideas is the moment the business stops growing. And so that's why your learning must keep growing as well. And yeah, add all of that in. But the list of potential pitfalls is 1,000,000 to 1. The thing that stops that is knowledge and planning. I mean, I look at businesses that, you know, they get to 1,000,000 without really having a plan. To go to that next level, you've got to sit down and plan this thing. You just have to, because there's too many team members at that point in time that need to know what's going on. How does everything fit together? Your management systems have to get stronger. Your leadership systems have to get stronger. And they are two different things, management and leadership. Management is about your productive, competent employees, and leadership's about passionate and focused employees. And so people have got to be clear on that factor.
Great. So we've talked a lot about people and getting the right people in place. And what advice would you give about either finding or attracting the right kind of people, the people that are really going to take the business to the next level?
Yeah, look, I think first and foremost, you've got to realize that recruiting is about being proactive. It's not reactive recruiting. Don't wait till you need the position and then run the ad. Plan when you're going to need it. Build your organization chart and then plan by date. When am I going to need these people? You know, part of every business plan should be the human resources plan. When am I going to need them? How many am I going to need? How am I going to fund them? Where am I going to put them? All of those sorts of aspects. Now, when I talk about being proactive with it, let's say, let's pick a business. Say you're an architect, for example, and you wanted to build your architectural firm. You knew you're going to need another 20 architects over the next 5 years type thing. Well, you want to be on LinkedIn and building relationships with all the architects. You want to join every architect group on LinkedIn or on Facebook or on any of those sorts of things. You know, you want to be a part of that. You want to build a relationship with the local architecture school, all the lecturers, or that sort of thing. You want to be a guest lecturer there. You want to start thinking in advance. Then you've got to look at the marketing of this, because remember that you're trying to get people who already have a job. Most people who are, if you're in recruiting, you realize that it's recruiting. You're going and finding people who already have work. So you've got to market to them. You can't just, you know, run a help wanted ad on the web and hope, or in the newspaper, and hope they find you. You've got to go and hunt them down. That's why it's called headhunting. You know, you've got to do that. Hiring is about, you know, the lazy way of getting employees. It's about throwing an ad in online and hope you'll get someone that's good. Recruiters are out there hunting them down. And in fact, Jeff, you could put up one of my examples as a link to this local area manager job I just put up. So we build a web page for every single one. At the top of the web page is a video of me. There's a whole bunch more videos and audios and things on that page. So the person looking for the job, see, recruiting is more about deselection than selection. And when people get that through their mind, they realize that, hang on, my job is to have a whole bunch of people apply and then make it hard for them to get the job. Sell them on the idea of the job and sell them on the concept of working with our company. But then you've got to make it hard for them, because you don't just want someone who wants a job. You want someone who really wants to work with you in your business doing it. Now, flip that to the other way. When I first had to learn about recruiting, I remember being 20 or 21 years of age, and I remember going to my dad. My dad was a manager of a very large company, and I turned to him and I said, "You know what, Dad, I just can't get good people." And he looked at me and laughed, and he said, "Brad, you get the people you deserve." And I sit there going, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, let's put it real blunt. You're an average manager running an average business. Highest caliber of employee you're going to get is average." And it was like, "Thanks, Dad. Really motivational speech there. Really enjoyed it." But he was right. If great people want to work in great companies doing great things, they want to work for a great leader achieving, the best things. Great people don't want to work in an average company or a bad company. They want to work in a great company. So, yeah, buddy, we could spend hours on recruiting, and I love teaching recruiting, but it's one of the things that business owners have to get real good at.
And once you've got your team in place, you get what you tolerate is one of my favorite phrases. In that, if you the success of the business is directly proportional to your intolerance of poor performance within the business. And your key performance indicators that for each employee, your checklists that each employee follows, their planning process, their goals that they have set for them. Let's be really blunt, Jeff. Average business, I ask them to sit down with all of their employees, and I say, firstly, ask every single employee to write down the goal of the company. And of course, guess what happens? If you've got 50 employees, how many different goals do you think you get written down? Now, if they do all know the goal, the problem then is that the goal is written only in financial terms. There's no actual meaning behind it. And to be really blunt, none of your staff are actually excited about making you an extra £1 million this year. The fact that you can buy yourself a yacht does not excite your staff in any way, shape or form. So we've got to look at that part. Then you sit down and you say, okay, now ask every team member, what are the top 10 things that is their job? What are the top 10 most important things in their job? And then at the same time, you write a list of what you think are the 10 most important things on their job. Guess what? They're not going to match. So if they don't even know what their 10 most important things are, and that's where, the key performance indicators and the goals and the daily, like even just putting daily plans in place, Jeff, every single employee in every one of my companies, every single day must plan the following day before they leave work. And if they don't plan the following day before they leave work, the next day is not going to be productive. So, it's simple things like that. Your team doing a plan on Friday for what they're doing the next week, doing monthly planning, quarterly planning, just taking the time to sit down and think about what you're doing. If you come back to the statement of you get what you tolerate, business owners that demand performance get performance. Business owners that encourage performance get overperformance. So it's a balancing act of here's the minimum performance, here's what what's a goal, here's what we as a team want to achieve. No, that's really interesting. Rather than demanding it, encouraging it. I like the difference in that. In the encouraging, because when you're encouraging people to grow, they enjoy that. It's like, if you're playing tennis and not keeping score, that's no fun, is it?
Sometimes it can be fun, but generally it's not the way. You can't manage what you don't measure. You see it in sports all the time, buddy. There's a reason why sports teams keep stats. It's so they can get better. Yeah,
it's no fun not scoring if you're as competitive as I am. I can tell you that. So.
Yes, and most business people are competitive. But they're creative and competitive, and they want to achieve amazing things and build a phenomenal business and do something worthwhile with their day. If you're going to spend that much time at work, you may as well do something that's worthwhile that you feel good about too.
Brad, that seems like a really great place to finish. I want to thank you so much for your time today. I know the listeners will have got a lot out today, so we wish them all goodbye, and we'll call an end to the podcast.
Buddy, thanks so much for your time today. Now, by the way, those of you watching this, if you're not working with Jeff, I was going over some of his client testimonials just before jumping on this call. His clients love him because he gets results. Actually, Some of them, Jeff, said they don't love you that much because you're damn tough on them. But, if you're not working with Jeff, please call him today, go see him, get in touch about what it is he can help you do in your business. Jeff and his team are doing phenomenal things. So please, my shout out to you, Jeff. Great testimonials from your clients. Really enjoyed reading them.
Great. Well, you're very kind. Thank you, Brad. And I'll see you all in the next episode. Thanks very much for listening. Bye.